Tip number 11. Last time we talked about the cost of low productivity. Now I'm going to talk about the causes, or the basic causes. I won't catch them all, but we're going to talk about several of the basic causes. When I go into shops, one of the things I look at is why aren't the techs able to be productive? So multiple different reasons for that. One of the reasons for low productivity obviously can be the knowledge, education, or motivation of the tech. So if the tech is not motivated, if the tech is not knowledgeable enough, if the tech doesn't have enough education or enough experience, of course, it's going to be difficult for them to produce hours the way that we want them to produce hours. So the tech can be the cause. But I can tell you probably more than 80% of the time, it's not the tech that's the cause. And an interesting way to figure out what's going on is to talk to your technicians, and hopefully they'll open up with you and just say, why not? So one of the problems is dispatch. When we walk into shops, one of the things we find routinely is that they don't have a good dispatch system, which also would go into scheduling. They don't have enough cars for the technicians to work on at the right times. So a lot of the technicians will come in the morning and stand around for 15 or 20 minutes and not have anything to do because there's no car. Another problem with low productivity, or causes low productivity from the technician's point of view, is it takes too long to estimate. Now, if you have a good estimating process where things can happen quickly, then typical work order, you might find 5 things on the vehicle. It takes the service advisor 15, 20 minutes to look this stuff up, get the job written out, then they talk to the customer for a few minutes, and then within 30 minutes or so, there's an authorization and it's back to the technician. But if your company is a little more disorganized, like most shops, it might take you an hour and a half, especially during those times where you have too many cars. When the cars come in and you have too many cars at one time and too many estimates coming through your service advisor. So one of the things that creates this problem is actually too many cars. If I have too many things for the service advisor to do, the service advisor will not have the time to build a relationship with the customer, to actually sit down and discuss with the customer what needs to be done, and to make the customer feel good or comfortable about doing the work and buy the work. So it will take much longer to try and get this stuff estimated and get it sold, and therefore it takes longer to get it back to the technician, and during that time the technician may or may not have anything to do. One of the answers to this, and I don't know where we should put it, maybe we'll write it over here kind of sideways, is to do your scheduling in such a way that each technician has at least two cars. So dispatch multiple cars to your technician. Because if the technician is held up on one, then the technician will be able to go to another. And I realize some shops don't have the space for this, but even with that, if I only have one bay, I may be able to push this out or move the car out, bring another car and get that car going while we're waiting for the estimate to come back from the service advisor. Another problem, huge problem, is getting the wrong parts. And if you're continuously getting the wrong parts or incorrect parts or not getting enough parts, all the parts for the job, and you are able to solve those problems, then your technicians will be able to be more efficient because they don't get in the middle of a job and then find out, hey, I don't have the parts. So there are multiple things that cause deficiencies in your productivity. I think one of the most important things is someone in management is paying attention to that and trying to identify those things and solve those things. If we have a good scheduling system, then we schedule people at the right times. And I know it's never going to be perfect in any shop. I've ran lots of shops in my life. If we have a good dispatch system, we'll dispatch multiple cars to our technicians so that they can be busy. And if they're not having an authorization on this car, they can be looking at this car and starting that process. If we can make our estimating go faster, a lot of service advisors spend a lot of their time walking out to the shop, having conversations with the technician because the information coming in, the technician estimating is incomplete and not done well. If we can do that well, then that's going to help us because it's going to speed things up so the service advisor doesn't have to go out to the shop, have a 10-minute conversation with the technician about what the car really needs, why does it need it, what are the parts needed, and how much time do you think this thing's going to take. If we can make that go faster, then we won't take as long to estimate and we'll get those cars back to our technicians faster, increasing their productivity. And if we can order the right parts more often and get better parts lists from our technicians so that we have all the parts we need, then we have just taken care of several of the things that cause problems for productivity. Now there's others, and I'm sure that we'll cover some of those others in another tip. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day.